Benjamin.
And I'm Nik Michael Imran.
And we're cooking for love.
So I'm going to be making my rendang that's very rich and coconutty, but I'm going to have a bit of a Western twist by adding my short ribs. Together with that, we're going to pair it up with my bread. I'm going to make my bread first so that I can have that beautiful smell of baking bread while I make my rendang ribs. Here I'm using high gluten flour, butter, milk powder, sugar, a bit of salt. So we're going to add everything in and leave it to mix inside. Now we've got an auto yeast dispenser here. The yeast goes in here. And I'm gonna pop my dry ingredients here, which today is the cashew nuts and raisins. So it's got 8 bread menus, and I'm going to select the rapid bread menu. Select crust color, and then leave the bread maker to bake. We're gonna start with the rendang. First things first, we're gonna start with the spices, toast them up, make them really fragrant. So what we've got here is some coriander seeds, some cumin and fennel seeds. Important thing to note here is that you have to continuously move your spices. Don't let it sit too much in one place because it's going to scald. All right, look at that. The color is nice. It's toasted already. We're going to put it in the spice mill. Now we're going to continue with blending our aromatics. So let's get that started. Some rehydrated dried chilies, red chilies here, onions, garlic, but we're also going to add a bit of lemongrass. Last but not least, we have the ginger and the galangal. Bit of water. And now we can start blending it. Okay, so that looks good. You don't want to get the oil too hot because that's going to burn the spice immediately. So what we're doing here is flavoring that oil. I tell you, the smell of that spice is amazing right now. So that looks good. I can start adding in my paste. Oh yeah, that looks good. So what I want with my rendang is a bit more of a darker color, right? So add in our gula melaka and make sure it all dissolves and melts into our paste. What I'm going to do now is let it fry up and turn all dark. That's going to take about 20 minutes. Make sure it doesn't dry out too much. If it does, add a bit of water. Now balance it with a bit of sourness from this tamarind paste. And because of the color, it's going to help darken it even more. All right, that's the color I'm looking for. Look at that, it's turned dark, it's reduced, it's caramelized, and we can start with the ribs. So what I'm gonna do is chop it up. We can put it into the paste. Okay, I'm gonna give this a quick mix so we can coat the paste around the ribs. It's gonna take about 2 to 3 hours to really cook it down and get it tender. Now one tip here is you don't wanna get the temperature too high because you don't wanna overcook the ribs so easily and so fast. All right, that's good, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna add in water. So because this is going to be cooking for quite a long time, we need a lot of water to compensate for the loss of evaporation later on. Give it a mix. All right, the last thing I'm going to do before I leave it is add a bit of salt. You don't want to add too much right now because once it reduces, it's going to get saltier. Okay, so now we can close it up, let it be for about 2 hours. All right, that looks good. We can start with the next step. So in goes our turmeric leaf. Then I've got my coconut milk. Santan. This is going to add that richness to it. The last thing I'm going to add is karise, and what this is it's the flesh of the coconut that's been grated and then it's been toasted until really, really brown and the oil comes out. So we're going to add all these ingredients to finish it off. So this karise is, to me, a wonderful ingredient because it adds this really toasty, almost dessert-ish note to it. All right, the last thing I need to do is add a little bit more seasoning, a bit of salt. We've got it reduced now, so final check. Okay, we're gonna give this one final mix. Let's start plating the ribs. The bread is baked. Press stop when you hear the beep sound. Oh yeah, look at that, it's ready. Remove the bread pan and cool down for 2 minutes before removing the bread from the bread pan. There we go, look at that color. I'm really happy with that. So there you go, our rib rendang and cashew nut and raisin bread done. This is gonna go great with the nasi lemak. I hope they'll enjoy it.
I'm Sarah Benjamin.
And I'm Nik Michael Imran.
And we're cooking for love.